This is the Finding Business Happy podcast with me, Janelle McGrath, the founder of Market Veep. This show is all about helping you to live your best life inside and outside of work as a leader in business. Because let's face it, what's important is finding your business happy. Welcome back to the Finding Business Happy podcast. Today we're going to talk about the importance of finding happy business values. And so with that, the importance of these company core values obviously goes much deeper and wider and farther than just posting them on our websites. We're going to talk about not only why they're important, how to determine them, and what it means for ultimately an organization to live them out. And as a human, we have values and perspectives that each individual person stands behind. Regardless if you have them written down somewhere in a notebook, in a journal, they really are a person's compass for how they live their life and make decisions. In a business, it's very similar, and they help us determine where to drive the ship, when we got off course, and get us back on track. So think of it this way. If your company is a group of awesome people, all from different walks of life, family situations, life experiences, and so many other nuances that make each one special, but how, as an organization, can everyone move in the same direction if they personally all have different perspectives and outlooks on life? And so transparently, in our nearly 10 years, we've gone through 2 iterations and 1 tweak to our core values. Our first round, we started living them. We felt like it just missed the mark. They felt forced and unnatural. Our second round of adjustments let us get, I would say, about 95% of the way there, with 1 addition coming later on in the journey. And the idea is that you should not expect to get them right and perfect right out of the gate. Let them sit with you and be okay evolving them. You want to make sure that they feel natural and that there are no gaps, that you're not like, oh, we're still missing something in this. And with them evolving, that's not to say that they should be changed every month, every quarter, every year, but the intent is to make sure that they fit and they stick. For Market Veep, our organization's primary core value is to be human. And that's what we have derived all our other values out of. I'll make sure to drop in our resource section our documents so you can use as a jumping off point, including our company culture deck, our about page, blogs, and books that have inspired us. But to me, being human really means being a well-rounded, happy, compassionate, caring individual who lives a full life inside and outside of work. So living this value out in our company truly means not compromising on this principle. Our 4 other values that are a real driving force for us are give generously, humble heroism, build together, and grit with grace. And a lot of times when we talk to companies, many of them don't have any documented core values. It's hard because those values are, from a marketing or a sales perspective, a lot of times beneficial because we're using them in messaging, in positioning, and differentiators in terms of how your company sets itself apart from the competition and why somebody should pick you. So here's 3 ideas on how to get started to figure out what you want to stand for as an organization. So the first one is you can hold a workshop for your team. Ask them some of the following questions. When you think of someone at the company who inspires you, describe their qualities and what you admire most. What are the absolutes, the lines in the sand that as a company we say yes or no to? What does happiness at the company look like? Write a personal list of what characteristics you think define you. Describe 3 stories of real-life examples of incredible success stories and what values it entails. Ask them why they're most proud to work at your organization. And so we've done a lot of these exercises in multiple rounds, and different answers have come up. The thing here is to make sure to continue to ask why, and drill down as deep as you can until there's nothing left to answer. Number 2 is developing a client interview format. So the second group of people that will help kind of inform why they're there, right, is clients. So setting up meetings with them to discuss, why they work with you, what they like best, and what helps build that relationship. There's lots of ways to do it. We have done it on phone calls, on Zoom. You could also send out like HubSpot surveys, NPS scores, polls. You can openly post it on social media. Depends on how brave you want to be, but there's lots of ways to capture that information. Different groups and different volume obviously drives different initiatives for how to gather that information. And the third one to try is to look for inspirational brands. So have your team think about and write a list of brands that motivate and inspire them and why. Compile that list of brands' existing values, and maybe there's some hidden overlap in there. So if you know someone struggling to get their values aligned, please share this recording to help them in finding their business happy. Once you have that list, the next step would really be testing those core values out before you commit to them. Kind of like dating, right? You want to make sure that they're the one that you want to end up with. So use them in things like conversations. For example, we might say, that was an awesome #build together moment. Incredible job on delighting that client when you did XYZ. Take it one step further. Share it in your Slack channel or shout it out at your daily or weekly huddles. Empower and build up your team. Remind them of all the things that you're grateful for and all of the amazing things that they do for your organization. As you start to use them, make sure you and the team have open conversations about if they truly encompass your full organization or if they feel that there's still something missing. When you're challenged with difficult or happy situations, make sure to reflect back on your values and ask yourself which one of those situations aligns with which proposed new value. And remember that your company core values are what drives your ship and keeps it on track. So that being said, what does it look like when a company lives their core values to the fullest? Here are some of my favorite examples and to help kind of get your wheels turning. The first one is Bombas. Their value is giving back, and they're committed to community and donating a pair of socks for every pair purchased. So they partner with organizations like homeless shelters. So for every pair of socks, underwear, etc., that they're selling, they're making sure to give one back to somebody in need. Second organization is Patagonia. One of their values is quality. Their exact quote is to build the best product, provide the best service, and constantly improve everything we do. The best product is useful, versatile, long-lasting, repairable, and recyclable. Our ideal is to make products that give back to the earth as much as they take. And so one of the ways that they go about doing this is they invest heavily into the environment and giving programs, including, amongst many of them, being 1% for the planet. It's an organization that they pledge to give essentially 1% of sales to the preservation and restoration of the environment. And so far, they have awarded over $140 million in cash and in-kind donations domestically and internationally to grassroots environmental groups and local communities. Pretty incredible volume to be able to say that they've been able to help. The next one up is Amazon. So regardless of what you think of the organization as a whole or the person and people leading it, some pieces that they have for their values are customer obsession rather than competitor focus, passion for invention, commitment to operational excellence, and long-term thinking. So if we think about how disruptive Amazon has been, there is no denying, regardless of where somebody stands, in my opinion, of ethics or if they like them, don't like them, they have made lives easier. So when we think about the one-click buy, next day delivery, the shipping options, the return policy through Whole Foods, all of these things really kind of revolve and show these core values in terms of how to make somebody's life easier and how that passion for invention and thinking outside the box really brings their core values to life. Trader Joe's, Kaizen is one of their core values, which is the Japanese word for continuous improvement. And so, for me, that reminds us that every individual makes a difference and comprises the entire company. So all of those individual contributions and small moments of self-improvement contribute to that big picture of what the company can do as a whole. And so they do things, where it really revolves around improving and giving the customer the wow factor in that customer experience. And they really want to make sure that people feel like they're talking to a good friend who happens to work at Trader Joe's. And so if you've ever been to a Trader Joe's, I don't know if you have had the same experience as me, but I will have people, if I'm staring at something too long, come up and ask, is there something missing? Can I find you something else? Do you have any questions? It's like multiple people coming over at once that they're trying to, fight each over for who can get there the fastest to be helpful. It's definitely a very different experience going to other grocery stores, to say the least. And then the final one that I have on my list here is Zappos, which is one of my personal all-time favorites and one of my favorite overall company stories. And a must-read if you're looking to get fired up and excited about your business. It's called Delivering Happiness is the book. And I'll make sure it gets added to our resources. But Zappos has a whopping 10 core values. Now, I'm by no means saying that 10 is the perfect number or everybody should aim to get 10. We have 5. We've had clients come in and they have 3. It really is, in my opinion, less is more. You want your team to remember them and be able to express each one of them. 10 feels very, very long. That being said, their organization as a whole is incredible when we think about the people piece and customer service. So their core values are deliver wow through service, embrace and drive change, create fun and a little weirdness, be adventurous, creative, and open-minded, pursue growth and learning, build open and honest relationships with communication, build a positive team and family spirit, do more with less, be passionate and determined, and lastly, be humble. So what does that actually look like in execution and in living those values out loud? So I'll share a couple of my favorite stories with ways that they have expressed this. So there was one year that for Thanksgiving, they teamed up with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation to cover the tolls. So for the hours between 5 and 7, they paid for all of the drivers' travel because they wanted to reduce stress of the holiday. Another time, there was someone who had bought his shoes because they were the cheapest and they were for her wedding, and the courier had routed the package to the wrong location and unfortunately wouldn't arrive till after he was supposed to wear them. So he called Zappos and was really upset, and he got his issue resolved. Not only did they settle the problem by overnighting the replacement at no additional cost, but they upgraded him to a VIP and gave him a complete refund for the headache. There was another person whose mother's left foot was numb and sensitive and had to go through medical treatment. So they'd bought 6 pairs of Zappos shoes. And after receiving all of them, nothing worked. And so they called and were complaining and explained about the medical situation and how to go about returning those shoes. And so instead of it being a negative experience, Zappos actually sent a large bouquet of flowers with a get well soon message. And then after that, they were given VIP memberships, granting them all shipping on all orders without charges. And the final one comes from the CEO. The CEO, Tony Hsieh, was out giving presentations and he was meeting with clients. And, he'd taken them out for a night on the town. They got back late from the bar. The clients had said, hey, I really could go for a pizza. But at that point, the room service had been closed. And so he was so confident in his customer service team, he told them to call Zappos and they would figure it out. And so they called the customer service line at Zappos, and they were able to figure out 3 pizza locations in their area that were open during that time and get those pizzas delivered. And so all of this to say, challenge yourself and your team. Stay curious in who you are as an organization and what you stand for. Till next time, keep finding business happy. Thank you for listening to Finding Business Happy with me, Janelle McGrath, the founder of Market Veep. If you want a roadmap to finding and keeping your business happy, download our free guide now at marketveep.com/happy.